Jake Morrison stood in his small cabin aboard the human ship. He looked at the papers in his hands for what felt like the 100th time. The words were simple, but their meaning was huge. He was going to marry an alien princess. Not just any princess, but the crown princess of the Zeltharian Empire, one of the most powerful civilizations in the galaxy. He was 32 years old and had spent most of his adult life as a soldier. He had fought in the Void Wars alongside the Zeltharians. He had saved lives and lost friends. He had medals for bravery and scars from battles. But nothing had prepared him for this. The marriage was not about love. It was about politics. Earth needed allies. Humanity had only been part of the Galactic Coalition for 15 years. They were still new, still proving themselves. Some alien species did not trust humans. Some thought humans were too aggressive, too unpredictable. This marriage would change that. It would bind Earth to the Zeltharian Empire through blood and law. Future children would carry both human and alien heritage. The alliance would be unbreakable. Jake set down the papers and looked out the small window. Space stretched endlessly before him, filled with stars. Somewhere out there was Zelthara Prime, the planet where he would spend the rest of his life. His home on Earth felt very far away now. A knock came at his door. Admiral Karen Hughes entered without waiting for an answer. She had been his commander during the war and was now his mentor. She was a tough woman with gray hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. Still having second thoughts? She asked. Every day, Jake admitted. But I knew what I was signing up for. Did you? Karen sat down across from him. Jake, I need to be honest with you. The Zeltharians have not told us everything about this marriage. Their culture is complicated. There are traditions and laws that we do not fully understand. Jake felt a cold weight in his stomach. What are you saying? I am saying be careful. Be observant. And remember that you can always contact me if things go wrong. She stood up and put a hand on his shoulder. You are doing something incredibly brave. Earth will not forget that. After she left, Jake tried to sleep, but his mind would not rest. Tomorrow he would arrive at Zelthara Prime. Tomorrow his old life would truly end. The next morning, Jake put on his formal uniform. He looked at himself in the mirror and barely recognized the man staring back. He had always been a soldier. Now he was going to be a prince, or whatever the Zeltharian equivalent was. The ship landed on Zelthara Prime in the late afternoon. Jake stepped off onto a landing pad made of smooth crystal that glowed softly beneath his feet. The city stretched before him, all towers and bridges that seemed to be made of colored glass. Gardens filled with plants that glowed in shades of blue and purple grew between the buildings. The sky was a pale orange, and 2 small moons were already visible despite the daylight. A group of Zeltharians waited for him. They were tall, at least 7 feet, with skin that shimmered with colors like oil on water. They had 4 arms instead of 2, and their faces were beautiful but alien, with large eyes that had no visible pupils. One of them stepped forward. Commander Morrison, I am Chancellor Morvek. Welcome to Zelthara Prime. Crown Princess Veyara awaits you in the throne room. Jake followed the Chancellor through the Crystal City. People stopped to stare at him. He was probably the first human most of them had ever seen in person. He kept his back straight and his face calm even though his heart was pounding. The throne room was enormous. The walls were made of some transparent material that showed the sky beyond. The floor was smooth and dark, reflecting everything like a mirror. At the far end, on a raised platform, sat Princess Veyara. She stood as he approached, and Jake had to remind himself to keep walking. She was magnificent. Her skin changed colors as he watched, shifting from deep purple to silver to pale blue. Her forearms moved with graceful precision. She wore robes that seemed to be made of light itself. Her face was sharp and elegant, with high cheekbones and those large dark eyes that seemed to look straight through him. Commander Morrison, she said. Her voice was melodic, with strange harmonics that made it sound like 2 people speaking at once. I have heard much about your courage in battle, Your Highness. Jake bowed as he had been taught. I am honored to be here. Are you truly? She descended from the platform and walked toward him. She was taller than him by at least a foot. Or are you here because your government ordered you to be? Jake met her eyes. I am here because Earth needs this alliance. But I intend to make this marriage work, Your Highness. Not just as a political arrangement, but as a real partnership. Something flickered in her expression. Her skin shifted to a warmer gold color. That is a better answer than I expected. Come, we have much to discuss. She led him to a private chamber where they sat across from each other. Another Zeltharian was already there, smaller than Vayara, with skin that tended toward softer colors like pink and lavender. "This is my younger sister, Princess Lysara," Vayara said. "She will serve as our harmony keeper during the marriage." Lysara bowed her head. "It is an honor to meet you, Commander Morrison." Her voice was gentler than her sister's, with fewer harmonics. "The honor is mine, Princess," Jake said, though he was not sure what a harmony keeper was supposed to do. Vayara poured drinks for all three of them from a crystal pitcher. The liquid inside glowed softly. "I want you to understand something, Commander. This marriage is not just about politics for me either. I am the crown princess. I will rule the Zeltharian Empire one day. I need a partner who is strong, intelligent, and adaptable. Your species has proven all of these qualities. Thank you, Your Highness. But there are complications." She glanced at her sister, and some silent communication seemed to pass between them. "Our laws regarding royal marriages are ancient and very specific." "I cannot marry alone," Jake frowned. "What do you mean?" "In Zeltharian tradition, the elder sister must marry first. But she cannot take a husband without the younger sister being bound to the same union. It is called the Harmony Protocol. It ensures that royal siblings remain united and that the family line is protected." Jake's mind went blank for a moment. He looked from Vayara to Lysara and back again. "You mean I would be marrying both of you?" "Yes," Vayara said simply. Lysara's skin flushed a deep rose color and she looked down at her hands. Jake sat back in his chair. This was not in any of the briefing materials. Earth's government had either not known or had deliberately kept this from him. "I know this is unexpected," Vayara continued, "but it is our law. If you cannot accept this, we can end the arrangement now. No shame would fall on you or your people. We would simply say the cultures were too different." Jake thought about Admiral Karen's warning. He thought about all the humans living in colonies that needed Zeltharian protection. He thought about the future of Earth in the galaxy. Then he looked at both princesses. Vayara sat straight and proud, a warrior and a leader. Lysara seemed nervous but hopeful, her eyes darting up to meet his before looking away again. "I need to think about this," Jake said, "but I am not refusing. I just need time to understand what this really means." "That is fair," Vayara said. Her skin shifted to a pleased golden color. "You have 3 days before the betrothal ceremony. Use that time to learn about our culture and to decide if you can truly commit to this path." As Jake left the chamber, his mind was spinning. He had come here expecting to marry one alien princess. Now he was being asked to marry 2. The future had just become far more complicated than he had ever imagined. But as he walked back through the Crystal City, he realized something else. Both sisters had looked at him not with contempt or superiority, but with genuine hope. They wanted this to work as much as he did. Maybe, just maybe, they could figure this out together. The next 3 days would determine everything. Jake spent the next 3 days learning everything he could about Zeltharian culture. He met with scholars, diplomats, and even common citizens who were curious about the human who would marry their princesses. Everyone was polite, but he could feel them watching him, judging him, wondering if he was worthy. The most important meeting was with Master Quellen, the royal artificer. He was ancient even by Zeltharian standards, his skin pale and covered with intricate patterns that seemed to tell stories. He brought Jake to a chamber deep within the palace where something floated in the center of the room. It looked like armor, but not like any armor Jake had ever seen. It was semi-transparent, with colors that shifted and flowed like living light. It seemed organic, almost like it was breathing. "This is the binding armor," Master Quellen said. His voice was dry and papery with age. "It has been growing for 200 years in preparation for this marriage." "Growing?" Jake moved closer. The armor pulsed gently as if responding to his presence. "It is alive in a sense. It is a symbiotic organism that will bond with your body at the cellular level. Once the bonding is complete, it will become part of you. It will protect you, enhance you, and allow you to safely interact with Zeltharian physiology." Jake reached out but did not touch it. "Why do I need protection?" Master Quellen's expression was grave. "Commander Morrison, Zeltharians are not like humans. Our biology is energy-based as much as physical. When we experience strong emotions, we release energy discharges. During intimate contact, these discharges can be lethal to unprotected beings. The weight of what he was saying settled over Jake. So without this armor, I could not safely be a husband to the princesses. You would die on your wedding night, Master Quellen said bluntly. The armor will contain and redirect those energies. But there is more. The armor will also modify your genetics to allow for reproduction between human and Zeltharian. Without it, such a thing would be impossible. Jake stared at the floating armor. What will it do to me? It will extend your lifespan to match ours. Zeltharians live for thousands of years. You will as well once bonded. It will enhance your physical abilities. It will connect you psychically to both princesses, allowing you to sense their emotions and physical state. And it will change your genetics in ways we cannot fully predict. Cannot predict? Master Quellen nodded slowly. No human has ever bonded with this armor. No species except Zeltharians have successfully completed the bonding. You will be the first. The process will be painful. There is a chance it will kill you. And if you survive, you will be changed forever. You can never go back to being fully human. Jake felt his mouth go dry. Does Earth's government know about this? They were informed of the basic requirements. Whether they shared all details with you, I cannot say. Jake thought about Admiral Karen's warning. She had known something was being hidden. Now he understood what. If I refuse the armor, the marriage cannot happen? Correct. Without the bonding, you cannot safely consummate the marriage or produce heirs. The entire arrangement would be meaningless. Jake turned away from the armor and walked to the window. Outside, the crystal city glowed in the light of the setting sun. Somewhere in this palace, Vayara and Lysara were waiting for his decision. How long do I have? The betrothal ceremony is tomorrow. The bonding would occur immediately after, if you agree. You have until dawn to decide. That night, Jake could not sleep. He paced his chambers, thinking about everything he would lose and everything he might gain. He contacted Admiral Karen through a secure channel. They told you about the armor. She asked when he explained. Did you know? She hesitated. We knew there was a bonding process. We did not know the full extent. Jake, if this is too much, you can refuse. We will find another way to secure the alliance, will we? Jake leaned against the wall. How many other humans would be willing to do this? How many have the military record and diplomatic training needed? We both know I am the best candidate. That does not mean you have to sacrifice yourself. Is it sacrifice if I am choosing it? Jake closed his eyes. Karen, I met them. Vayara and Lysara. They are not just political figures. They are real people in an impossible situation. Vayara needs a partner who will not be intimidated by her strength. Lysara needs someone who will see her as more than just her sister's shadow. And Earth needs this alliance. And what do you need, Jake? He laughed bitterly. I need to believe this will work, that I can do this impossible thing and somehow make it right. Then you have already decided. She was correct. He had decided the moment he saw both sisters looking at him with hope in their eyes. The betrothal ceremony was held in the Grand Plaza, before thousands of witnesses. Jake wore formal human military dress. Vayara and Lysara wore traditional Zeltharian robes that seemed to be made of starlight. Chancellor Morvek performed the ceremony, his voice amplified to reach the entire crowd. He spoke of unity between species, of new beginnings, of hope for the future. Jake repeated the words he had been taught, making promises in a language that felt strange on his tongue. When it was done, Vayara stepped forward and placed her hand over Jake's heart. Her skin was warm and tingled with energy. Are you certain you want to proceed with the bonding? Once it begins, there is no turning back. Jake looked into her dark eyes and saw genuine concern there. Then he looked at Lysara, who stood beside her sister. Lysara's skin was flushed pink with nervousness, but she gave him a small nod of encouragement. I am certain, Jake said. They led him to the chrysalis chamber, the place where the bonding would occur. The room was vast and circular, with walls that pulsed with bioluminescent light. The binding armor floated in the center, waiting. Master Quellen was there, along with a medical team. But only Jake, Vayara, and Lysara would be in the chamber during the actual bonding. It was too intimate, too dangerous for others to witness. Jake removed his uniform, standing in only simple clothes. He looked at the armor one last time, then at both princesses. What do I do? Step into it, Vayara said. Let it embrace you. Do not fight the pain. If you fight, you will die. Jake walked forward. The armor seemed to sense him approaching. It unfolded, opening like a flower. He stepped inside. The moment it touched his skin, pain exploded through his body. It felt like every nerve was on fire. The armor wrapped around him, seeping into his skin, merging with his flesh. He wanted to scream, to tear it off, to run, but he remembered Vayara's words. Do not fight. Instead, he forced himself to accept the pain. He let the armor flow into him like water, let it rewrite his cells, let it change him into something new. Vayara and Lysara moved to stand on either side of him. They began to glow, their bodies radiating energy. They reached out and placed their hands on him, and suddenly he felt them inside his mind. He experienced Vayara's thoughts, her memories. He saw her childhood, her training, the weight of responsibility she carried. He felt her loneliness, the burden of being crown princess with no one who truly understood her. He felt Lysara's gentleness, her quiet strength. He saw how she had lived in her sister's shadow, always supporting, never leading. He felt her secret hope that maybe, just maybe, this strange human could see her for who she truly was. And they felt him. They experienced his memories of war, of losing friends, of fighting for survival. They felt his determination, his loyalty, his stubborn refusal to give up even when everything seemed impossible. The armor responded to all of it. It drank in their combined essences and wove them together. Jake felt the bonding complete with a surge of energy that nearly stopped his heart. Then suddenly the pain was gone. Jake opened his eyes. The armor had become invisible, integrated into his body, but he could feel it there, humming beneath his skin, and he could feel them. Vayara and Lysara, their emotions, their physical presence, like they were part of him now. How do you feel? Lysara asked softly. Jake looked at his hands. They glowed faintly with the same light as the princess's skin. He felt stronger, faster, more aware, and he felt them, constantly present in his consciousness. Different, he said, but alive. Vayara smiled, and through the bond he felt her relief and satisfaction. You survived. The bonding is complete. You are now bound to us and we to you, for the rest of your life, which will now be measured in millennia instead of decades. Jake realized the full weight of what he had done. He was no longer fully human. He was something new, something that had never existed before. The thought should have terrified him. Instead, he felt a strange sense of peace. He had chosen this path. Now he would see where it led. What happens now? He asked. The two sisters exchanged glances. Through the bond, Jake felt their nervousness. Now, Vayara said, comes the difficult part. 3 weeks passed after the bonding. Jake discovered that his new life was stranger than he had imagined. The armor had changed him in ways that were both wonderful and unsettling. He could run faster than any human, lift weights that would have crushed him before. His senses were sharper. He could see colors he had never known existed. He could hear conversations from across a room, but the strangest thing was the bond itself. He could always feel Vayara and Lysara, no matter where they were in the palace. He knew when Vayara was stressed from her royal duties. He knew when Lysara was reading in the gardens, at peace with the world. And they could feel him too. It should have felt invasive, but somehow it did not. It felt natural, like they had always been connected. Jake trained with the royal guard every morning. The warriors had been skeptical of him at first. A human married to their princesses? They did not hide their doubt. But after Jake held his own against Commander Thex, a warrior with 400 years of experience, their attitude changed. They began to respect him, to see him as one of their own. In the afternoons, Jake attended strategy sessions with Vayara. She was preparing for a military summit with other coalition species. Jake was surprised to find that his human perspective helped. He saw patterns she missed, thought in ways that came from his shorter lifespan and more desperate history. Your species thinks quickly, Vayara said one day as they reviewed battle plans. We Zeltharians have so much time that we overthink. You humans act with an urgency we have forgotten. In the evenings, Jake walked with Lysara through the palace gardens. She taught him about Zeltharian philosophy and art. She was gentler than her sister, more interested in culture than warfare. But Jake learned that gentle did not mean weak. Lysara had a core of steel beneath her soft exterior. Do you miss Earth? She asked him one evening. Sometimes, Jake admitted. I miss simple things, coffee, rain, the way humans laugh. Do we not laugh? You do, but it sounds different. Everything here is beautiful, but it is not home. Lysara's skin shifted to a sad blue color. I am sorry. I know this is difficult for you. It is difficult for all of us, Jake said, but we are making it work. Through the bond, he felt her gratitude and something deeper, something she had not put into words yet. but their peace was about to be shattered. Duke Zarathan, a powerful Zeltharian noble, requested an audience with the royal family. He came with a formal challenge, ancient and legal. He stood before the throne with dozens of nobles behind him. "Crown Princess Vayara," he said, his voice echoing through the hall, "I invoke the law of royal proof. You have bonded with a human. You claim this union will strengthen our empire. But can a human truly fulfill the requirements of a royal consort? Can he give you heirs?" Jake felt Vayara's anger through the bond, hot and sharp, but her voice remained calm. "The bonding has made reproduction possible, Duke Zarathan. You know this. Possible is not the same as proven. I demand proof of reproductive compatibility within 30 days, or I will petition the council to dissolve this marriage. For the good of the empire, we cannot have a crown princess bound to a sterile union." The nobles behind him murmured in agreement. Jake realized this was not just about him. This was about politics, about power, about conservatives who did not want change. After the audience ended, Jake, Vayara, and Lysara met in private. The tension was thick enough to cut. "This is my fault," Vayara said, pacing with all four arms, gesturing sharply. "I knew there would be opposition, but I thought we would have more time." "What exactly is he demanding?" Jake asked. Lysara answered quietly. "He wants proof that we can conceive children. He wants us to attempt the Catalyst event." "Which is?" Vayara stopped pacing and looked at him. Through the bond, he felt her dread. "The Catalyst event is the process by which royal Zeltharians reproduce. It is not like human reproduction. It requires all three of us to achieve perfect emotional and physical synchronization. It requires intimate contact that lasts for days, and it releases energy that could kill you even with the armor." Jake sat down slowly. "How dangerous?" "Master Quellen estimated a 54% chance of survival," Lysara said. Her voice was shaking. "Jake, we cannot ask this of you. We can find another way." "What other way?" "If we refuse, the marriage is dissolved. Earth loses its alliance. Everything we have done was for nothing." "Better that than your death," Vayara said fiercely. Jake looked at both of them. Through the bond, he felt their fear. Not for themselves, but for him. Somewhere in the past 3 weeks, this had stopped being just a political arrangement. They cared about him, and he realized he cared about them too. "I will do it," he said. "No," Lysara said immediately. "I have been researching alternatives. There must be something safer." "We do not have time for research," Jake said. "Zarathan gave us 30 days, but he is not going to wait patiently. He will use every moment to turn more nobles against us. We need to act now while we still have support." Vayara studied him. "You would risk death for this alliance?" "I would risk death for you." "Both of you," Jake stood up. "I am not doing this for Earth anymore. I am doing it because we are bound together. Because in the past 3 weeks, you have become more important to me than I thought possible. If we are going to have a real marriage, if we are going to have a future together, we need to commit fully. No holding back." He felt their emotions through the bond. Surprise, fear, hope, and something warmer. Something that felt like the beginning of love. "Then we prepare," Vayara said finally. "We have Master Quellen optimize the protocols. We do everything possible to increase your chances of survival, and we pray to whatever powers exist that this works." The next 2 weeks were intense. Master Quellen ran countless tests, adjusting the armor's parameters, trying to find ways to protect Jake better. The Royal Medical Team prepared the resonance chamber, a special room that could contain the energy discharge. Jake trained his body and mind, preparing for the ordeal ahead. He meditated with Lysara, learning to control his emotions and synchronize with the bond. He sparred with Vayara, building his physical strength to its peak, and in quiet moments the three of them grew closer. They talked about their hopes and fears. They shared memories and dreams. They learned to move together, think together, feel together. On the eve of the Catalyst event, they gathered in their private chambers. Tomorrow they would enter the resonance chamber and would not emerge for 3 days. "I am afraid," Lysara admitted. "I have run the calculations 1,000 times. The risks are still too high." "Afraid is good," Jake said. "It means we care about the outcome. It means this matters." Vayara wrapped 2 of her arms around him. "You are either very brave or very foolish. Can I be both?" Through the bond, he felt them smile. Then Lysara joined the embrace, her smaller arms wrapping around both of them. For a long moment they stood together, feeling each other's presence, each other's strength. "Whatever happens tomorrow," Vayara said softly, "I want you to know something. I did not expect to fall in love with you, Jake Morrison. I thought this would be a marriage of duty. But you have given me something I never had. Partnership, equality, friendship, and yes, love. I feel the same, Lysera whispered. I have lived in my sister's shadow my whole life. But with you, I feel seen. I feel valued. Whatever the future holds, I am grateful for these weeks we have had. Jake felt his throat tighten with emotion. Then let us fight for more weeks, more months, more years. Let us build a life together that is worth the risk we are taking. The next morning, they entered the resonance chamber, the door sealed behind them. Medical teams waited outside, ready to intervene if disaster struck. Admiral Karen Hughes had come from Earth, demanding to be present. Master Quellen monitored from a control room, but inside the chamber, there were only 3 people who loved each other and were willing to risk everything to build a future. Together, the Catalyst event began. Jake discovered that intimate connection with Zeltharians was unlike anything humans experienced. It was physical, yes, but also emotional and psychic. Every touch sent waves of energy through the bond. Every kiss shared memories and feelings. Every moment of closeness brought them deeper into synchronization. The armor protected him from the energy discharges, channeling them safely through his enhanced body. But the intensity was still overwhelming. Time lost meaning. They moved through cycles of rest and connection, building toward the final catalyst moment. On the 3rd day, everything came together. Their emotions aligned perfectly. Their bodies moved in perfect harmony. The energy built to a crescendo that filled the entire chamber with light. And then Jake felt his body begin to fail. The pain was like nothing Jake had experienced before. His heart stuttered, missing beats. His lungs struggled to draw breath. The genetic recombination that was supposed to allow hybrid conception was tearing his cells apart faster than the armor could repair them. Through the bond, Vayara and Lysara felt everything. They tried to pull away to stop the process, but Jake held them close with strength he did not know he had. Do not stop, he gasped. We are almost there. You are dying, Lysara cried. Her skin was white with terror. Then let me finish what we started. Jake pulled on every bit of human stubbornness he possessed. Humans did not give up. Humans survived against impossible odds. That was what made them special in a galaxy full of older, stronger species. They refused to quit. The armor responded to his will. It adapted in real time, becoming something new. Not just Zeltharian technology, but a true fusion of human determination and alien science. The energy discharge peaked. For a moment, Jake felt like he was being torn apart. Then suddenly everything clicked into place. The pain vanished. The genetic recombination completed successfully. Jake collapsed unconscious before he hit the floor. He woke 3 days later in the medical wing. His whole body ached, but he was alive. Vayara sat on one side of his bed, Lysara on the other. Both looked exhausted but relieved. You survived, Vayara said simply. Through the bond, he felt her joy and lingering fear. Did it work? Jake's voice was rough. Lysara took his hand gently. Yes, the genetic scans confirm successful conception. We are carrying twins, 1 each. Jake closed his eyes, overwhelmed. They had done it. Against all odds, they had created new life. Children who would be both human and Zeltharian. There is more, Vayara said. The children's genetics are remarkable. They have traits from both species, but also entirely new sequences. Master Quellen believes they will have abilities neither of our species possess. Over the next week, Jake recovered his strength. News of the successful conception spread across the coalition. Duke Zarathan's challenge was defeated. The marriage was validated. Earth's alliance with the Zeltharian Empire was secured, but not everyone was happy. Jake was in the training yard when he sensed something wrong. The bond had made him sensitive to hostile emotions. He felt malice, hidden but present. He spun around just in time to see a servant reaching for a weapon. Jake moved faster than thought, disarming the attacker before anyone else realized what was happening. The royal guard rushed in and took the servant away. Investigation revealed the truth. The servant was a Carthani agent placed in the palace months ago. The Carthani Collective was a conservative faction in the coalition. They feared human expansion and had been working to prevent the marriage from succeeding. But it was not just the Carthani. The investigation uncovered a broader conspiracy, involving multiple species and even some Zeltharian nobles. They had sent the threatening message. They had planted agents throughout the palace. Their goal was to kill either the princesses or Jake before the twins were born. Why would they go to such lengths? Jake asked during a security briefing. Admiral Karen, who had stayed on Zelthara Prime, explained, "Because you proved something dangerous to their worldview. Humans can integrate with any species. We are adaptable in ways that threaten the established order. If your children are successful, other species will want similar unions. The power structure of the coalition will shift." Duke Zarathan, who had surprisingly become an ally after Jake's survival, added his own warning. "The Karthani fear what they cannot control. They have maintained influence for millennia by keeping species separate and manageable. Your family represents chaos to them, unity they cannot predict or manipulate." Vayara took command of the security response. Despite being pregnant, she was still crown princess and a brilliant military strategist. She established new protocols, combining human intelligence techniques with Zeltharian psychic detection. Jake discovered his enhanced abilities were invaluable. He could sense hostile intent before it manifested into action. He could detect lies and hidden weapons. The armor had given him tools to protect his family, but the conspirators were not finished. They sent another message, this time directly to Jake. It arrived encrypted on his personal device. The words were simple and chilling. "The hybrid princes must not be born. We offer one chance to avoid catastrophe. Terminate the pregnancy and we will leave you in peace. Refuse and we will ensure none of you survive." Jake showed the message to Vayara and Lysara. Through the bond, he felt their anger and fear. Both princesses had their hands on their bellies, protective of the lives growing inside them. "They are afraid," Vayara said. "Good. Fear means we have power. Fear also makes people dangerous," Jake warned. "We need to draw them out, make them act before they are ready." Lysara, who had been researching the conspiracy, made a discovery. "I found something in the old records. The genetic sequences in our children that are unprecedented. They are not random. They match fragments in ancient Zeltharian genetic memory, from before recorded history." She pulled up holographic displays showing complex genetic data. Millions of years ago, Zeltharians were not natural. We were engineered by a civilization called the Architects. They designed us to be compatible with multiple species. But the program was never completed. They disappeared before it could be activated. "Until now," Jake said slowly. "Until now," Lysara confirmed. "Your human DNA has reactivated the dormant Architect programming. Our children are what the Architects intended to create all along. That is why the Karthani are so desperate," Vayara said. "They know this history. They know what it means. If our children survive, it proves that humans are the key to unlocking ancient Architect technology and knowledge." Jake made a decision. "Then we force their hand. We announce a public celebration. We make ourselves targets. And we capture them when they attack." "That is incredibly dangerous," Admiral Karen objected. "You would be risking not just yourselves but the twins." "We are already at risk," Jake said. "At least this way. We control when and where the confrontation happens." Vayara nodded slowly. "He is right. Better to fight on our terms than constantly defend against hidden attacks." They planned carefully. The celebration would be held at the Crystal Amphitheater, a massive open-air venue. Security would be visible but deliberately sparse in certain areas. They would make it look like an opportunity too good to miss. Meanwhile, Jake trained harder than ever. His enhanced abilities continued to develop. He could move with Zeltharian speed and grace while maintaining human unpredictability. The Royal Guard began calling him the Shadow Warrior, a fighter who moved between human and Zeltharian fighting styles seamlessly. The day of the celebration arrived. Thousands gathered in the amphitheater. Dignitaries from across the coalition attended. Media broadcast the event to billions. Vayara stood at the podium, both hands resting on her pregnant belly. "Today we celebrate not just new life, but a new future. My children will be the first of their kind, but they will not be the last. We stand at the beginning of a new era of unity." Jake stood beside her, scanning the crowd. His enhanced senses were on high alert. Through the bond, he felt Lysara's nervousness. She was hidden in a secure location, but her fear for her sister and Jake was palpable. Then he felt it. Hostile intent, multiple sources converging on their position. "Now," he said quietly. The attack came from 3 directions simultaneously. Mercenaries burst from the crowd, energy weapons firing. Panic erupted as civilians ran for cover. But Jake was ready. He pushed Vayara down behind the reinforced podium and activated his armor fully for the first time in combat. It manifested as glowing patterns across his body, a visible exoskeleton that amplified his already enhanced abilities. He moved faster than the attackers expected. 3 went down before they realized he was among them. The Royal Guard converged from hidden positions, engaging other attackers. Vayara, despite her pregnancy, fought with forearmed precision. She had been practicing her whole life for moments like this. Together, she and Jake formed a devastating team, but the real threat was not the mercenaries. Ambassador Krell, the Carthani representative, had worked his way close to the platform during the chaos. He activated a suicide device powerful enough to level the amphitheater. Jake saw him, saw the device, understood instantly what was about to happen. There was no time to run, no time to evacuate. He had only one option. He grabbed Krell and activated every containment protocol in the armor. Energy fields sprang up around them both, a sphere of force designed to contain the massive explosion. Through the bond, Vayara and Lysara felt his decision. They both reached out psychically, pouring their own energy into the armor, reinforcing its shields. The device detonated. For a moment, the amphitheater was filled with blinding light. Then the light faded, contained within Jake's energy sphere. When it was over, Krell was dead. Jake was still standing, but his armor was cracked and flickering. He collapsed to his knees, consciousness fading. The last thing he felt through the bond was relief from both princesses. They were safe. The twins were safe. He had done what he needed to do, then darkness took him. Jake woke in the medical wing for the second time in his short marriage. His body ached everywhere. The armor was still flickering weakly beneath his skin, damaged but not destroyed. Through the bond, he felt Vayara and Lysara nearby, their relief washing over him like a warm wave. "You should be dead," Master Quellen said from beside the bed. The old artificer looked shaken. "The explosion should have killed you even with the armor. But you contained it. You and the princesses working together created an energy field stronger than anything I have seen." "The twins," Jake croaked. "Are fine," Lysara said, appearing at his side. She took his hand gently. "We are all fine because of you." The conspiracy was broken. The surviving mercenaries were captured and interrogated. Evidence was gathered that implicated several high-ranking Carthani officials. The Carthani collective was expelled from the Coalition Council, pending a full investigation, but the victory came with a cost. Jake's armor would take months to fully repair. Until then, he was vulnerable in ways he had not been since the bonding. Master Quellen worked day and night, trying to restore the damaged systems. More importantly, the explosion had triggered something unexpected in the twins' development. They were growing faster than any pregnancy on record. What should have taken 2 years for Zeltharian gestation was now projected to take only 3 more months. The explosion flooded them with energy, Master Quellen explained. It accelerated their development dramatically. They will be born soon. Much sooner than we planned. Jake could feel them now through the bond. 2 distinct presences, aware and growing more conscious every day. Sometimes they would send simple emotions to him. Contentment, curiosity, and surprisingly, protectiveness. Even in the womb, they seemed to understand that their father had been hurt defending them. 3 months passed in a blur. Jake's armor slowly repaired itself, the cracks filling with new patterns that Master Quellen said represented an evolution of the original design. The twins continued their accelerated growth, and the galaxy watched, waiting to see what these unprecedented children would be. When labor began, it started for both princesses simultaneously. Contractions hit them at the exact same moment, proof of the deep psychic connection between the twins. The medical team had prepared extensively, but nothing could fully prepare them for what was about to happen. Jake stood between the 2 medical beds, holding a hand of each princess. His armor connected them all in a psychic web. "This is going to be different from normal Zeltharian births," Master Quellen warned. "The twins are linked. They must be born together, or the psychic feedback could harm them both." The labor was long and difficult. Energy discharges from both princesses threatened to overwhelm the medical equipment. Jake used his armor to channel the excess energy safely away, just as he had been designed to do. But midway through, complications arose. The twins' psychic output was interfering with everything electronic in the room. Medical monitors failed. Equipment shut down. The carefully planned technological birth was falling apart. "We are losing control," one of the doctors said urgently. Jake made a decision. Shut it all down. Every electronic device. "We do this the old way." "What?" Aster Quellen looked shocked. "Before you had all this technology, how did Zeltharians give birth?" The old artificer's eyes widened with understanding. "Naturally, with only psychic connection and physical support." They shut down the equipment. The room went quiet except for the sounds of the princess's breathing and the soft glow of bioluminescence. Jake stood between them, the armor creating a bridge of energy that connected mother to mother and both to him. Through the bond, Jake felt everything. Every contraction, every wave of pain, every moment of fear and determination. He supported them psychically and physically, channeling energy where it was needed, providing strength when theirs wavered. Vayara delivered first. A son with Jake's facial features but Vayara's iridescent skin and forearms. His cry was both audible and psychic, announcing his arrival to every sensitive being in the palace. Moments later, Lysara delivered her son. He had Lysara's gentler features but more human proportions. His skin glowed with soft colors and his cry harmonized perfectly with his brother's. Jake held both sons, one in each arm. They were small but perfect. Their eyes were open and aware, looking at him with intelligence that was far beyond normal newborns. Through the bond, he felt their consciousness. They were already aware of who he was, who their mothers were. They recognized their family. "Hello," Jake whispered. "I am your father." Both boys reached for him with tiny hands. When they touched his armor, it responded, pulsing with new patterns. The boys were already interfacing with the technology that had made their existence possible. Master Quellen ran tests over the following days. The results were astounding. The twins had hybrid vigor, combining the best traits of both species. They had Zeltharian psychic potential and human adaptability. Their genetic structure included active architect programming that was reorganizing their development in real time. "They will live for thousands of years," Master Quellen said in awe. "They will have abilities neither species possesses separately. They are the future." A naming ceremony was held. The entire coalition watched as Vayara held up her son. "This is Kieran," she announced, named for the ancient word meaning bridge. "He represents the connection between all our peoples." Lysara held up her son. "This is Aldrich, a human name meaning wise ruler. He carries the wisdom of both our species." The ceremony was broadcast across known space. The image of Jake Morrison holding both hybrid sons flanked by both princesses became the symbol of a new era. Political ramifications spread quickly. Species that had been skeptical of humanity began requesting cultural exchanges. Several civilizations approached Earth about potential diplomatic marriages. The proof was undeniable. Humans could integrate with any species successfully. Jake was given a new title by Earth's government, Ambassador Prince, a rank created specifically for him, recognizing his unique position. But titles and politics mattered less to Jake than the reality of his new life. He was a father. His sons grew at an accelerated rate, developing abilities that amazed everyone who saw them. By 2 months old, Kieran and Aldrich had the awareness of year-old children. They could project emotions clearly through the family bond. They recognized people and places. They showed preferences and personality. Kieran was bold and curious, always reaching for new things. Aldrich was calmer, more observant, studying the world before acting. Together they were inseparable. Their psychic bond was so strong that they seemed to share thoughts. Jake spent hours each day with them, playing, teaching, learning. The armor created a connection that let him understand their needs even before they could speak. He knew when they were hungry, tired, or needed comfort. Vayara balanced her duties as crown princess with motherhood. Through the bond, Jake felt her joy at having something in her life beyond duty. Lysara was a natural caregiver, patient and gentle with the boys. Together, they were building something new. Not just a political alliance, but a real family. One evening, as Jake held both sleeping sons, Lysara joined him in the nursery. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked quietly. "Giving up your humanity?"
"Your old life?"
Jake thought about it. He was no longer fully human. He would live for thousands of years. He would never see Earth the same way again. He had been changed in ways that could never be reversed. "No," he said finally. "I did not lose my humanity. I expanded it." I am still Jake Morrison, but now I'm also part of something bigger. Bayara entered, having finished her duties for the day. She wrapped 2 arms around Jake and 2 around her sister. "We have built something remarkable," she said. "Not just these children, but this family. This bond." Through their connection, all 3 felt the same emotion: love. Real, deep, genuine love that transcended species and culture. The boys stirred in their sleep, sensing their parents' emotions. They projected contentment back through the bond. Safe, loved, home. Outside the nursery, the galaxy continued to change. The architect mystery deepened. New alliances formed. Old power structures shifted. The future was uncertain and full of challenges. But in that moment, in that room, Jake Morrison felt at peace. He had come to an alien world expecting duty and sacrifice. Instead, he had found family. He had found love. He had found a future worth fighting for. His sons would grow up in a galaxy that was learning to see beyond differences. They would be the first of a new generation that proved unity was possible. They would face challenges their parents could not imagine, but they would not face them alone. They would have family. They would have the bond. And they would have the stubborn human determination that refused to accept that anything was impossible. Jake smiled as he looked at his sleeping sons. The adventure was just beginning. There would be more challenges, more dangers, more mysteries to unravel. But whatever came next, they would face it together, as a family, as a bridge between species, as proof that love could transcend any barrier. The story of Jake Morrison and the Zeltharian princesses had started as a political arrangement, but it had become something far more important. It had become the foundation of a new era. An era where different species could not just coexist, but truly unite.